Hi everybody, welcome back. You're watching Sticks and Glue episode number 5. The full hand, the full fist. Thanks for everybody who's been checking it out. Drop me a line, let me know what you think. I appreciate you all. This has been a lot of fun to do and increasingly difficult to make myself do because now that it's real and some people are watching it, I feel this sense of obligation to be interesting and find things to talk about. But I'm going to keep doing the building anyway, and I'm pretty sure I can find stuff to talk about. Whether or not you want to continue to watch is up to you. I'm going to keep doing the thing. So I was thinking about today kind of giving you a little tour of where we're at with the build so that you can kind of see what we've got going on. And maybe it'll help you kind of understand where we are and where we're going. So I showed in some of the early videos the two towers, which obviously you've seen here. The two towers. These are, if you've ever seen a picture of London Tower Bridge, it's got two towers. So it's not London Towers Bridge, it's London Tower Bridge. By the way, you know that the one that's actually called London Bridge is not, is just like a plain normal looking bridge. And I believe I have this story right, but there was a businessman in the United States who wanted to buy London Bridge and move it here. And he wanted London Tower Bridge, but he didn't know that that's what it was called. So he bought London Bridge and he had it moved stone by stone to the United States and reassembled in, I think it's Arizona. I probably got all this wrong, but at least it'll give you something to write to me about. Anyway, London Bridge is in Arizona. London Tower Bridge is in London, and also here on my table. So I've got the two towers. I'm building the drawbridge portion, which is these guys. I've got some of the supports that go underneath the drawbridge portions. I still have to make two more of this piece. And then there are these little gates that go along the side, the whole portion of the bridge. I still got to make a bunch of these. The piece that I'm doing right now that I've got on my board is the additional support fins, right? And the section of bridge that we're working on right now basically is this. So if you can see this, we've got the bridge flaps and the support structures that they're attached to. Now these platforms, once they're completely assembled, are going to be beneath these tower bases, right? But that's really only the middle section of the entire bridge because it goes out beyond where the towers are a considerable distance. Here is a picture of what the completed bridge would look like with the amount of detail work we've got going on. So you can see those two towers are built, but we still have a long way to go, a lot of matchsticks to measure and cut, and I'm going to be fighting a constant battle against sawdust and glue bits, but that's where we're at. As far as where I'm at personally, I'm pretty tired today. It's like 3 o'clock in the afternoon, but I got a call at like 4 o'clock this morning from some of the team members at my store because apparently there was a scheduling snafu and there was nobody scheduled to open the building to let them in. So I'm actually scheduled to work an overnight tonight, which is fine. I kind of like working the overnights because you can get a lot done, and also I can listen to books on my headphones. But yeah, I got the call, so I threw on jeans and a sweatshirt, and I ran down to the store and unlocked the building, and I waited there and did some work for about an hour, waiting for somebody else to show up. And I'm not going to say it wasn't irritating because stuff happens, but I realized something kind of interesting about myself that made me feel kind of good, which is this. It feels good to be able to show up for people. Um, I spent a long time feeling like um, that's something that I couldn't do, that I was too buried in my own junk, that I wasn't aware enough to show up for people, that I wasn't actually able to be physically present for people, and that I wasn't able to be like emotionally present for people. So getting a call at 4 in the morning and not having to worry about the fact that I was maybe not in a state to legally be allowed to drive, the fact that the phone rang at 4 o'clock in the morning, and even though I was only on 3 hours of sleep, it actually woke me up. The fact that I, could show up and do what needed to be done made me feel pretty good about myself. And when another person showed up, they were apologizing to me, and I actually said, that, it's irritating and it's not something I want to do all the time, but it feels good to be able to get stuff done. And also, I don't get as mad at people for mistakes anymore. I think that is a consequence of, recognizing that if I only continue to exist as a result of a grace I don't deserve, then who am I to withhold that grace from anybody else, right? Somebody said to me once, you can't want grace for yourself and justice for everybody else. And I think that's good advice. It's also, there's a humility that comes from facing your own junk and having to set right the things that you can, and having to sit with the stuff that you can't fix, no matter how much you would want to try. Also, just sort of, it made me think about how much time I put into daily maintenance that keeps my temperature far enough away from the boiling point that little things don't push me over the top. Like, if you're always running at 200 degrees and you raise the temperature just a little bit, you're going to boil over. If you're room temperature, then you can kind of take some stuff in stride. It'll raise your temperature a little bit, but you're not gonna boil over the top and scald everybody around you. And I think that's pretty important. You don't want to be in a situation where you're not falling over the ledge of the cliff, but you're like straddling it, walking along the edge of the cliff, waiting for a gust of wind to blow you off. I want to be pretty far away from the edge of the cliff. And that requires a lot of daily maintenance on my part to make sure that I'm dealing with little things, doing whatever kind of mindfulness meditation I need to do, and taking care of stuff so that my baseline is way below the boiling point. And I feel pretty good. I came home, I took a nap. It's beautiful outside here in Asheville. I went for a walk down to Taco Billy. I got this taco. The taco shell was made from plantain, and it was filled with like sweet potato and black beans, and it was really good. I started reading a new book. I finished that Vonnegut book I was reading, and I'm reading A Hologram for the King by David Eggers, and that's pretty good. Yeah, I don't know. It's just another day, right? But it started out less than ideal, and yet somehow I feel good about that part. I used my extra free hours to enjoy the day. I did some work on the model. Actually, I made this guy right here, and I counted the number of cuts involved in doing this piece, and sanding and shaping each individual piece, and I think it was 29 individual matchsticks that had to be cut and formed and sized, and this piece took about 45 minutes. I know that it took about 45 minutes because it was more or less exactly the length of an episode of the show Monk, and I think we would all do better if we measured time in episodes of Monk. Yeah. That's about all I got going on today. I just wanted to give you an update on the bridge. I might try in some future episodes to see if I can do actual building while talking to you about it, but it's really hard, I'm going to be honest, because I lose my train of thought with the precision of the measuring and the sanding and the gluing. But you can see the results, and I still like the idea of building the bridge as a metaphor for work and time and gradual change and building something beautiful and intricate and imperfect and kind of messy, but still impressive in a million tiny steps. Yeah. Have a good day. It's Tuesday? I think it's Tuesday. I'm going to toss up another episode, hopefully Friday. Stay in this 2-a-week cadence. And in the meantime, I'd love to start hearing from you. Any questions you have, you can drop them in the video comments. I might start saving them up and do a proper Q&A episode so that we can answer any questions you have about model building or about recovery or about books or whatever you want to talk about. I'm here for it. And this channel and this project is mostly for me, but it's for me for you. So I'm open to suggestions. All right, take care of yourselves. Thanks for dropping in, and we'll talk to you soon.